Grand Final! Let's go! To Spider Queen, the final best of 5 series of the tournament. And we got Rum and Ehre going up against Naki Wien, everybody. So, it's party time over here. It's gonna be a fun one. We have, of course, heroes, again, can only be played once. So, you are limiting the pool of heroes as you progress from one map to the next. Naki Wien was able to make that lower bracket run after all, and is now going up against the blue team that made it through the winner's bracket. And I'm actually happy already, because we have 2 Spider Queen. I've been demanding 2 Spider Queen to be picked for essentially the entire day, and nobody did it. Everybody was just like, nah. They went Shrines, Tomb, Towers, but nobody wanted to go for Tomb. So finally we're here. Now, could be a pretty cool series. Really interesting one. We had some real cool combos from basically both teams. And funnily enough, a lot of that happening around things like Tacita with Diablo wall stuns or Stuko follow-ups. I would love to see more of that. So we might get to see that here. We're going to crown a champion, of course, in the tournament. This whole thing is hosted by me and by Heroes Lounge. If you don't know what Heroes Lounge is, you should by now. We're currently looking at teams that play in Division 4 and 5, so the lowest divisions within the amateur scene. Heroes Lounge is the oldest amateur scene, an amateur organization that we have in the game. And they had over the years hundreds, probably thousands of teams that participated and players. So if you guys want to play more on a regular basis in a more competitive environment than what you can get from the client in-game, you should definitely check them out. The link is in the description of the video. If you watch this on YouTube right now, go to heroeslounge.gg. They have a very, very active Discord server where people can help you out if you have any questions. Signing up doesn't cost you anything. And it's just really to push the community a bit, which is also part of why we're doing the tournament here. We're going away from just looking at the top teams for once and just looking at the amateur level a bit. And it's been fun. Frustrating at times, where you're just like trying to coax the teams towards the core, but it's been pretty entertaining. And obviously, with the context of the recent patch just changing a lot of the meta, especially on the top level, it was also interesting to see what happens here on the lower levels. Teams have been adapting for sure. And I'm playing a bit more macro. With Tomb being the first map, Jojo obviously got banned. We have a Nubarak and Stukov now as the early picks for the red team, whereas Maiev gets picked quickly on the other side. It's actually a pretty smart pick, because if you watch the games that we had in the winner bracket final and then also the loser bracket final, there are by now a couple of players that really stand out on certain heroes. And Kazim with his Maiev, with his Karrigan, is definitely one of them. So once that you pick Maiev for your own team, that means that the opponent won't be able throughout the series to pick that hero. So Maiev is already eliminated as a potential option for Kazim later on. Question for me right now would be, with this being Tomb and a Nubarak already chosen, is the blue team going to go for Karrigan? Maybe Naki Wien is even banning Karrigan out. They have Malthael, they got Sylvanas, but Karrigan together with Stukov and Nubarak would already be a really nice comp if they're going to be trying to be aggressive. So a Karrigan ban wouldn't surprise me. You go for a very, very specific ban against a certain player. There are obviously a lot of meta picks that you can still ban out. I mean, Junker is still up, Hanzo is still up, so there's a lot of stuff that you can get rid of here on Tomb of Spider Queen. But there is, again, that drive that we've seen from the blue team earlier, where they are attempting to push and get momentum going. So Junker gets banned instead. Absolutely no guarantee that Karrigan is even getting picked or on their mind, but it is an option for sure. And I'm a little bit curious what they're going to go for. Also, regarding damage, obviously. They're going up against Sylvanas and Malthael over on the other side. They banned Ana, so no nano-boosted Tormented Souls or Last Rites. Which is, by the way, a comp that we've seen multiple times now. And there comes Blaze, and we get Falstad. Yeah, Kazim is still waiting this one out. Lots of stuns. Lots of CC. And they pick Karrigan and Kira. Huh? What now? What just happened? Did somebody brain fart and just misclick? Or is that really their comp? because they don't have a healer. They don't have a main tank. You can get away with with no main tank. Did they just pick heroes that the blue team is good with to eliminate them from the series? What am I watching? Guys? Grand final. Let's go. Game number 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Alright, I got context. I promise. Let's introduce the players first, but we got some context here. On the left, Kazim on Arthas for Nakivi in the Finnish team with Ascari on Blaze, Vasimir on Falstad, we got Phoenix on Stukov, and Sergeant Hader on Nubarak. Over on the right side of the map, Rum and Ehre. Oh, actually, we have the teams wrong. I have to send this over. Give me a second. But yeah, on the right side, we get Nakivin with Simba on Kira, Odorox on Maiev, Lazamehul Malthael, TT on Kerrigan, and Slithery Snuck on Sylvanas. So I promised you guys a little bit of context, and I actually have it. So what basically happened over here is that, well, they just picked the heroes that Kazim is best with. I already talked to you. I mean, I already spoke a little bit after we saw the pick into Maiev that there's a chance that they're trying to pick a couple of the heroes away from him, right? And once that Kerrigan came in, this seemed more of a possibility than even before. I didn't expect them to really go as far as not picking a support, but they literally just chose the top 5 heroes of Kazim and are trying to get rid of them. I always, ever since Red Meta Madness and introduced a format like this, I kind of advocated for the same concept to be done if you are the underdog in the series, that you're just picking 5 supports at the beginning of the game, or 5 of any role, and you try to just get rid of that role as quickly as possible to just create a maximum amount of chaos within the series that might then benefit you as the underdog, because in a straight up game, you are most likely going to lose. So they're literally coming in here and just picking something where they're saying we're going to take all of his best heroes away. And once that we remove that, we have a better shot in the rest of the series. Now, I like the thought process. I don't agree with how far they went with it. Kerrigan, Maiev, for sure. Sylvanas, yes, take her. But Kira, if he wants to... they actually kill Kazim first. If they want to pick Kira, let them pick Kira. She sucks. Kira is a hero that you want your opponent to take. So, honestly, if I was them, I would have picked his top 3 away. Or at least the 3 that I just mentioned. Maybe even Malthael, but add a support. Add a support and add a tank. You're still reducing his hero pool significantly, but you have an actual shot at winning this. Because right now, I don't see a universe in which Nakiwin can take this. Now, at the beginning of the game, they might get a couple of kills. They might get to a point where, you know, they can drive a fight or two. But the longer this lasts, the worse it's going to be for the red team. They're just not gonna have a shot here. So, this is them dying a slow and painful death. That's all that this is. They can try and maybe operate around the opponent a little bit. And again, the thought process isn't bad. I like the controlled chaos thing. I like trying to target the biggest damage dealer on the opponent's team, or the player that you think has the biggest impact. But at least give yourself an outside chance of winning in the process. So you gotta compliment Nakivin for really going for it. But already they're starting to lose some ground at the top, and once that we're heading into proper 5 versus 5 battles, or at least anything remotely resembling this, it's obviously going to be even more of a problem. By the way, in the context of all of this, I also want to give here in the grand final a big shout out to Lucas. He's been the one that has been adminning the entire tournament. He's also the one doing the research on what exactly was up with these hero picks. I mean, we suspected a little bit what was going on here, but he confirmed it that those are the most played heroes of Kazim. So he's been doing a fantastic job. And big shout out to him and a big thank you for helping out with all of this. And obviously to Heroes Lounge in general and all the players that participated in the event. It was great fun, is still great fun, and I think this is a great moment to just talk about this a bit. So credit where credit is due. The blue team with their first set of web weavers now. 4 kills to 2 and level 7. I see that kill count only going one direction. If you ever play without any supports, you have, or without a tank, you have traditionally at the beginning of the game way more damage. So you have a lot more damage, you have the burst available, you can really go into a team fight and just unleash everything on an opponent and easily take a few of them down. The problem is then later on in the game when supports are playing more and more of a role, when we have level 10 abilities kick in, and when sustain just plays a bigger role. So this is always the danger in a situation like this. First objective at the top lane at least has been defeated, so over here not too much has been lost. In the middle, they're trying to go for Kerrigan. Yes, and she gets lasered. There's the lightning from Falstad, and that's a kill. 5 kills to 3, a little bit of a leading experience. Easy defense, though, against the objective. So, nothing to be done here. It would be kind of crazy, though, if they win it. Just imagine for a second if we're now looking at a game where the initial idea just was to take the heroes away, and all of a sudden they take the W with it, too. That would just absolutely destroy the ambitions of the blue team. But they get Kira. So Kira is gone. She's eliminated. 6 kills to 3 now. Objective might not have done too much, but at least they're pulling a bit farther ahead in experience. There is a turn-in opportunity for Nakivin, though. So, yeah, Finnish team in red. The opportunity. Down at the bottom of the map. Okay, Lazamehu still sitting tight here as well, of course. And Kerrigan is starting to move in as well. So Kerrigan currently sitting in the middle, getting the assist also from the camp over here. And, well, Malsael goes down at the bottom of the map, and the fight still continues as we have Ascari running out of mana. And probably out of hit points too. Yeah, runs straight into Kerrigan. She wants the kill, misses the combo, but they still get blazed. Now Kerrigan and Maiev have both fallen, and with level 10 abilities kicking in for Rum and Ere, they're going for Kira next. They're trying to take her down too. Also made the adjustment on Arthas, going for Syndragosa, and instantly start to push through the bot lane to try and take even the fort out. But Sylvanas is pushing for the fort at the top lane and has now even Web Weaver support. So they're getting structures. They're taking structures out. In the middle, there's even more damage being done here. So Nakivin is not just simply giving up on this game. I still think if they would have just dropped, let's say, Kira and added a support, they would have had a way better chance of locking in a victory here. But they're not giving up on this. They're saying, boys, we can still do this. And to tell you the truth, that is now fort number 2 that they eliminate. So all of a sudden, with objective number 1, there's 2 forts gone. Not too bad for more or less a meme comp. So, yeah. Down at the bottom of the map, they're going to push for the next wall here. 11 kills to 5, but all the kills in the world are not going to help you if you're not able to take structures down. The goal of the game is not to kill heroes, the goal of the game is to take down structures and eventually the core itself. So, we'll see. In the damage department, they got plenty. 15,000 for Malthael, 15,000 on the other side for Falstad. Still another turn-in available for the blue team. And they're trying to grab it with Arthas, and he gets interrupted. Okay, just in time. Push at the top. They're gonna force another fight, aren't they? I don't think they can win team fights, though. Yeah, there's already the problem right there. First kill, Kira is gone. They get the tether from Maiev, but the cocoon on Sylvanas. Malsael is moving down to the bottom of the map immediately as we have the old form. Arthur, Sylvanas dead. And they still want Maiev here, and they're very likely going to get her. There's the stun from Manubarak as Ordorox is trying to escape, but that's the triple kill right here. And of course, they're now going to go for the fort. They can get the turn in. They can even go for the boss if they want to. They got a 20-second window here. Manubarak is the one just making the move for the fort itself and activating the Inspire buff on the minion wave. And the rest of the team is going for the... They're going for everything. I mean, they're spreading themselves out real thin on this one. Seems like they might... too late to steal the camp. They know that the boss is going to be taken, though. And they have the 5-man back up on the map, so with the Nubarak taking the fort out, I could have seen the red team make a play for the top and see if they can actually YOLO into the boss pit. I would have absolutely believed that they would take that chance and see if they can roll the dice on it. But now we have the boss at the top, we have the fort already gone, and here come the web weavers too, and this is going to hurt. Now, down at the bottom of the map, they're defending against this. Malthel is now retreating. Kerrigan is also slowly starting to move back. But topside, we could see the first keep collapse. So, this is lots of damage being done here. The wall is no chance and gets destroyed within seconds. If they can get kills here too. 13 seconds, by the way, until we have Arthur's with his ult back up. And he's going to use it. And that will enhance the damage even further. This keep, in my eyes, has absolutely no chance. And we're only 9 minutes into the game. Ooh, Sylvanas! Yo, she gets coiled hard, so she's down. And there's the ult from Arthur's. They're taking the keep, and the double root, the stun, the lurking arm, and the double kill. Get wrecked. They might even lose the game here now that Kerrigan is gone. So there's the opportunity to go for the core, and they're instantly starting to push for it. Boss is still up. It's a 5-man team wipe. Nakivin, they rolled the dice on this. They prepped for the rest of the series. They just said, guys, we gotta do something about this guy. They now got rid of 5 of his best heroes. Was it worth it? We're gonna find out. Rumenere take game number 1 as we're heading for the second map of the best of 5 series. GG. We're going to head in game number 2 in a second. Guys, if you enjoy the content, if you like the coverage here, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. It really helps to spread the videos to people that were interested in Heroes of the Storm in the past and might rejoin the game. So spread the love a little bit, help to promote the games here, like and subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the series. Well, game number 2. The grand final continues, and, well, the blue team won the first map, but I think Nakivin still accomplished their goal. They just came in and said, we're gonna pick the 5 top most played heroes of Kazim and gonna make the game super difficult for the player that we think has probably the most impact in this series on the opponent side. It was actually kind of funny because after game number 1, Kazim came into the live stream chat and he's like, I don't like that idea, I don't like that approach at all. And I mean, he wouldn't, obviously. But this is still a bit of a... This is a massive gamble. I could have been totally... I like the idea. I like the thought process. I like that they're trying to like game the system a little bit. And as I explained during the first map, I'm actually a fan of Underdogs doing this in general by maybe banning out a role or trying to get rid of a role and therefore making the game more chaotic because in theory they can maybe thrive in that chaos. But the thought process that they had there is not necessarily bad. The problem is just simply, I believe they went overboard. If you get rid of his 3 most dangerous heroes to you, and you still draft a support with it, maybe a tank, you increase your chances of winning this by a lot. You might still lose it, but you are then in a decent spot there to at least have a chance of winning that game. Now, that also means that, well, with this now coming in, Nakivin will, from here on out, try to win this one. And by the way, guys, there's a bit of pizza money on the line, so they're not coming in here and they're just like throwing this. They've definitely thought about it. And it might be a horrible choice. It might actually backfire. But they just came in and they said, okay, guys, we got to do something. So how do we do this? And they just decided that this is the way to go, that this would give them a chance here, and they want to test this out, and we'll see if it works. Now, I'm really curious. I want to see if that happens. But it's cool to see that. It's actually really cool. I did not expect this at all, but it was kind of funny. Now, Jojo gets picked on Infernal Shrines instantly. And let's see how Nakivin is going to react here. I mean, the minimum in this tournament is their second. So they already have a bit of prize money. So second place is guaranteed. And then the chance to, of course, take the tournament, crown themselves the champion, if they can now not only equalize the score, but also take the blue team out. So they sacrificed 1 game and are now trying to reap the rewards. Junkrat and Leoric. Definitely not a meme game for them this time. So they get Leo, they get Junkrat. And I'm not 100% certain, but I think they might have... No, they did not pick the map. Alright. So, yeah, for a second I was actually not quite sure if they picked the map or not, because technically if you pick the map and you don't have first pick, first ban, you could also get rid of a map that you don't want to play against your opponent. Kazim with Vala now, apparently. Now, just to immediately put this out there, he is not gonna run out of heroes. We're not running into a situation here where he just plays 3 heroes and that's it. So his hero pool is definitely deeper than that, but obviously a lot of his preference picks are now gone, and that will have an impact, especially since we're moving from one map to the next. So he's not going to be as comfortable on the heroes that are coming now as the one that they've gotten rid of. He played some amazing Maiev games. We had a great Kerrigan game earlier as well. So just to put this out there, this was a driving force between the success that we've seen so far on the side of Roman Era. Not the only one. I mean, the entire team has been just putting on a killing in this tournament. But they thought, Nakivin, that this is something that is worth doing just to give themselves a better chance on the coming maps. So we get bans on Garrosh and Imperius. Final ban for map number 2, ETC. Still enough frontliners around here, shouldn't really be an issue for them. And for the the Finnish team, now the chance to maybe even go for one of those Tassadar comps that they've been using quite some time. Stukov, obviously also out, was played on the first map as well. So the 10 heroes that were played can't be played again. But with Tassadar, they could still try and make a couple of moves here. Tassadar Diablo is something that teams here have used previously to try and set up this wall into stun combo. There's Diablo already, and we get Brightwing. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if TT goes for Tassadar. He's played it before. The problem is that Tassadar has also been played by the blue team. So if the blue team watched the previous series, they probably know what's likely gonna come, and they could pick Tassadar for themselves. It's not a horrible choice here, especially when you know that your opponent is aiming for that. Now, there are some mind games going on for sure at this point. They go Nazebo. Diva and Nazebo, and very likely the Tassadar pick now for Nakivin, I would assume. Together with Diablo, that would make sense. Again, if they hadn't picked it before, I would probably say, like, yeah, on the highest level of play, we don't see that much Tassadar. But here in the tournament, we've seen quite a few picks, and TT was one of the players that used him quite a bit. Would make sense here, especially with Diablo, and there it is. So, Infernal Shrines, everybody, map number 2. We have Nakivin with an interesting strategy coming into the grand final. Let's see if it pays off for them. Second map, Infernal Shrines. Let's go. Romanere with 1-0 lead in the best of 5 here at the grand final. We got Vasimir on Deckard Cain. Ascari with Diva. Serena's playing Vala again. She already played that earlier. We got Kazim on Nazebo, and Sergeant Hader is playing Johanna. Over on the right side, we got Slithery Snack with Junkrat for Nakivin for the Finnish team. We got TT on Tassadar, Odorox on Diablo, Lazamehu with Brightwing, and Simba is playing Leoki. So, we got those wall stuns again. Get those walls out. Diablo charges in, gets the stun connected. And then you just try for the quick and dirty kill right then and there. This is one of the things that they're definitely going to try and pull off. We have auto attack style for our girl Vala. So with that comp, you are in a spot where you're okay dying a couple of times. Not saying that you are forcing it, but if you die one time or two, it's not going to be a big problem. So I think this is very much what they are just accepting. In the comps like this, if you have a double damage and you're only going for one single support. Could have seen a multi-shot build. I think actually the last time, I might be wrong, but I think the last time that they played Vala here, they actually went for multi-shot. Okay, quick attack here against also Diablo again, up at the front. Vala also dropping a bit low, but working the first attacks in, and is sitting now at 12 stacks for the time being. On top of that, also quick attack topside. Yeah, I mean in this case we're having the camps claimed and the red team is going for the neutral one down at the bottom of the map, whereas we're having the blue team taking the one over on the left. Topside, Diva is already pushing. Gets actually a little bit of initial pressure here against Leoric, who's trying to match that rotation as best as he can. A few skirmishes down at the bottom of the map, but nothing too crazy, and the red team is now pretty confident that with what they already did, they have a shot at taking this one right here. So they go for both of the camps, 2 out of 3. Nice stacking already for Nazeebo, by the way. Him matching the rotation of the blue team, or joining it, is doing pretty okay. So he has 25 stacks for now. He's obviously going to be their late game gamble. They want to make sure that in the late game they have him as a huge damage tool that allows them to take the red team down and win the objective. The build, full spiders, at least for now. Diablo gets also kind of trapped here. I gotta say, Nazeebo with some decent impact right at the beginning of the game as he's starting to pressure the front line of Nakivin a bit. This is now the second trap that we saw from him. And all the way up at the top, we still got our 1v1, where D.Va is starting to lose out against Simba. Swing and drain. Bit of an early camp pick for them here as well. It's down at the bottom of the camp. The red team is falling a little bit behind. There's the wall stun. Can they go for it? Nice. Poly, the wall, and that is a dead Johanna. That's first blood in game number 2. So, nicely done. They get the first kill. So far, so good, I guess. And yeah, with Vazimir now moving in, we have, of course, for Serena now, 20 hits. It's kind of funny, actually, that with all of the heroes that were taken previously, that we now have Kazim on Nazeebo. It's just so different from all of the heroes that he has played so far. It's pretty amusing to me. So, they targeted him hard, and now he has to prove the red team wrong, essentially. He has to prove that, guys, you threw one map away, and it wasn't even worth it. Oh, Deckard! Nice attempt to lock them into the D.Va explosion. That nearly worked out for them. And Nazeebo now with 47 stacks on the baseline already. And that's only 3.5 minutes into the game. 31 stacks though on the objective for Nakivin. So they are massively ahead on that. But with the blue team taking full control over the point, that could very well end up with them still claiming it. But here comes the engage. Nakivin goes in. They're going to take the Punisher. Can they get out of the objective, out of the shrine without dying though? And it seems like they can. So first Punisher, Arcane Punisher for the red team. And the push towards the middle. Now every single time that you're playing Nazeebo, one of the things that you want to do is of course just get into the late game. Get to Vile Infection. And not fall too far behind. So if you're losing out on a few objectives, it's not necessarily the end for you. You just need to make it to 20 while not losing massive amount of keeps. So you kind of need to stay on par with your opponent as you're doing it. They have now 2 heroes. They're essentially scaling into the late game. It's not only that we are seeing Vala being played with an auto attack, but we also have on top of that then Nazeebo. So if the red team does not gain momentum and pull ahead here, then they are in for a very rude awakening later on when Vala and Nazeebo are starting to really unleash damage. So that's a bit of a problem that they're going to face for sure. If they don't push this. And there, look at that trap, damn! Nazeebo with a big wall, but the problem is that they still run into trouble on Vala. She's low and has to get out here, 43 stacks, but she didn't die. So didn't lose any of the Gambit stacks yet. But the aggression, despite the nice little moves that we've seen from Nazeebo, has not worked out yet. They're still fighting for that camp. Maybe now. Brightwing, low, and it is Junkrat that falls. Junkrat is gone, but they still got it back out, and they also lost the camp. But Romanere is willing to fight, and they're aggressive about it. So they are not hiding. Nope. They are pushing this hard. Well, and Nazeebo is now being stopped from stacking by him getting killed. 67 stacks on the baseline though, 89 on level 1. Despite his death, those are solid numbers. And Vala, by the way, has also not died yet. I still expect her to die at some point. I mean, again, she's not relying on a double support or a Medivh or a triple frontline or anything of the sorts. So it is to be expected that she's not going to be able to survive throughout the entire game. But right now, she is at the first quest reward on level 1 and hasn't fallen yet. So good on her. Level 10 abilities are in. That gives us also Black Hole for Tassadar again. Diablo. Maybe Apocalypse for him. Nope. Goes into the barbecue. So maybe Entomb into barbecue is the idea here. Still more auto attacks coming. Vala at 60 stacks now, and Nazebo is dealing with the camp in the meantime and is having no problems taking at least part of it out. The wall from Tacita is always a threat and can be a huge problem, but they've been dealing with it pretty alright. Ults are now back out. Nazebo is going for Gary, so picks the Gargantuan here. And Vala with the Rain of Vengeance as Junkrat is rotating back down. And they want to go for Nazebo again, and they might get him here. Yeah, the stun into the corner, and Kazim is gone. Yeah, they really go for him. They banned out all of his heroes in game 1 by simply picking them. And now they're trying to reap the rewards here by targeting him specifically. And thus far, it is working. I mean, they're level ahead now. So Nakiveen is starting to execute all of these strategies pretty nicely. They are on objective number 2. The blue team was down a hero. So it looks like we're going to get another Punisher for the red team. I like what they do there. It was a pretty nice thought process. And at least initially, it seems to be working. We got 14,000 damage for Vala, 18,000 for Tacita as the top damage dealers on their respective teams. Camp about to be taken at the top, but with only 3 defenders at the bottom of the map. This might be the first fort of the game that falls. The wall is there immediately. Nazebo, yeah, he finally makes it out, but phew, that wasn't easy for him either. They zoned them away from the fort though, and this is going to be the first structure that gets destroyed, and even Jojo might not make it. Diablo really wants her here. They're slowly disengaging. Vala with good damage, but it's just not enough to save the fort or help them out in any way. And this is with Leo still sitting at the top, by the way. D.Va is now coming in, but Nakiveen is just trying to get full control of this game. And look at the Punisher still at 40%. They are likely going to take that wall out too. So level 13 talents now available. 81 stacks for Nazebo at level 12. He will have to rotate towards the lanes at least a little bit, and he's already underway. They're still 1 level behind, but the first fort is now lost, so the passive experience gains are increasing. And slowly getting there. The spider build, obviously, with the complete level 1 quest is now starting to become a bit more dangerous. Nazebo is doing his thing here in the middle, takes those out, and sitting at 90 stacks. So has to work and get another 80, 83 in order to get there. So all about the minion waves for him right now. Which again is also going to make sure that they're going to get all of the experience here. We just need to make sure that Nazebo also knows perfectly well whenever there's a rotation coming his way, because he already died twice. And Vala is now at 79 stacks. So closing in on quest reward number 2. But it's definitely the red team that is currently making the big moves in the game. 13 versus 13 could still fight for the next objective, which should be a Frozen Punisher, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, with level 13 we get for Nazebo Ice Block, and Vala went straight into Tempered by Discipline, so self-sustain on her end. And in the middle, they're playing this out still a bit slow. Leo is all alone topside now. D.Va has to rejoin that quickly, or he's going to get that wall for free. There's not too many minions with him, but D.Va is a bit late to the party, and Ascari is currently helping out in the middle of the map, which gives Leo even more wiggle room. He is going for the next minion wave and can easily push that wall down as Ascari starts to finally... No! Stays in the middle for a little bit longer. Leo with tons of time topside. Yeah. Easy damage on that wall. Talking about easy damage, Nazebo is easily getting stacks at the bottom of the map now. Junkrat is slowly starting to rotate against it, but still, we have 3 stacks for Nazebo every single time that he makes it onto an abandoned lane, and now he's at 120 stacks roughly. So he will get to the Vile Infection threshold. That's a given. The only question is really, how are they going to look once we get to level 20, assuming that we get there. If they at any point aim for the objective, well, they're kind of playing from behind already. But if they took the lead, they might even want to slow it down a bit. Tacita gets attacked. Once again, nice move from Nazebo. And Tacita is gone. What a beautifully executed kill against Tacita. And that is happening just as the objective is about to spawn. So they're giving themselves a chance to go for a Punisher. The problem is, of course, that level 16 talent advantage that Nakivin is now holding. So if anything, they did at least slow this down a little bit, which is already a win in and of itself. If they can take the Punisher, that's a very different question, though. But if they are able to grab one, this would be a huge step into the right direction for them. And the kill was perfectly executed. Vala now with the second quest reward, so even more damage on her auto attacks. Nazebo coming in again. Yeah, they get the explosion. They start to pull farther and farther ahead on the shrine minions at least. But can they get enough to net themselves a Punisher? Because Tassadar is now back and is making his way over. And there's still one talent behind. Level 16 is missing. 34 stacks though. They're massively ahead here. They should get the Punisher for sure. 36, 37, 38. Yeah, they're going to grab this one. Frozen Punisher's in, but they're losing some heroes in the process, I would assume. Yeah, Deckard Kane is gone. And Kazim still alive and able to make his way back out of the fight. So they take the objective, and then Jojo gets wrecked by that random grenade towards the end. To be fair, taking this objective away from Nakivin was big. That slows things down. Grabbing Punishers and then pushing with them is one of the biggest tools that the red team has to take structures down, to push aggressively and make those plays. Kazim. Oh, look at Diablo. Oh, they got him. They saw him. And now he's just retreating. And he's getting away. He's actually getting away. Look at him. The Juke Master 2000. Diablo finally comes in. They really want Nazebo. And they're not getting him here. Instead, Tassadar was close to getting trapped by the zombie wall again. That was crazy. That was absolutely crazy. So now 16 talents on both sides. We got 34,000 damage for Vala. 26,000. Oh, Brightwing just jumps out as the Blessed Shield was there. Yeah, clutch. Clutch one. Okay, so there we go. Well, there's the hit. They try to get the kill. Diablo! And he's dead. Diablo is gone. And again, every single step that they're making here is perfect for them. They got the objective, even though they couldn't push with it. They are getting kills right now. All of this slows the game down. The late game is really what's the most important part here for them. And so far it's working. The most amazing part to me, honestly, is that Vala hasn't died yet. That's crazy. Vala has actually not died yet. So, well, they're going for the camp. They might be getting a little bit cocky here. Vala with the quest reward. The third one now is a little bit low. Vaults forward, actually. They want the kill on Diablo, and they get it. Damn, guys. Ruhm and Ehre. They are crushing it right now. Look at this. They're getting 4 kills. They're pulling it. They're getting a full 5-man team wipe. They took everybody down. 8 kills to 5, and now they can pressure this one hard. Mad lead in experience as well. So at this point, they're going for the fort. They're taking this one out too. We have down at the bottom of the map another one that is starting to attack. So top side, this is where Jojo is starting to move in. They're looking awesome here. I really expected them to trail farther and farther behind as they approach level 20, and Nakivin being hyper-aggressive, trying to go for an early core, but now the exact opposite happens. Even in the late mid-game, Ruhm and Ehre is starting to take the lead, and they're going to get level 20 now, just in time for Nazebo to get the full effect out of his completed baseline quest already. So, yep, here we go. Top side, Jojo is pushing for the last final fort that we have. Violent Infection is in. Farflight Quiver for Vala. Whoa! The red team, after starting really well into this game, is now all of a sudden having a real problem here. Also, losing that fort is another issue since the fountain is gone. Yeah, and top side, this is obviously now an objective that's going to be a little bit harder to take for the blue team, for the red team, if not impossible. They don't have a level 20, and there's no fountain anymore at the top lane. So, lots of disadvantages for them right now. 47,000 damage for Vala, and we got 37,000 for Nazeebo. So they get the Arcane Punisher, and yeah, now it's push time. For the red team, this is tough. They're going to get level 20 for the defense. If they can get kills here, maybe with a nice combo between Diablo and Tacita to set this up, they could still have a chance to, you know, push through the bot lane, for example, where they eliminated a fort earlier, but it's still going to be a tough one. I mean, right now, there's Nazeebo just doing Nazeebo things. Oh, but Tacita with really nice damage. Not bad. Okay, so at this point, the wall is already gone. We have, with 8 kills to 5, the chance to go for keep number 1. Arcane Punisher is getting burned down very, very quickly. But yeah, Nazeebo is just starting to wreck things. Look at this! Oh my god, Vala! Still not dying, and she has Manticore and Farflight Quiver. Big damage coming in from her, of course. Nazeebo trying to play the catch-up game, and he catches up in damage quickly. But this is just an utter disaster. They're so far ahead right now. 3 heroes for defense, and this is where it might likely end. They pull towards the front again with another Condemn from Jojo, and this is game. Rum and Ehre, they pull ahead with a 2-0 lead in the grand final. Nakivin with a great start initially, but at the end of the second map, the victor is still the blue team. Nicely done, GG. Coming up next, we have game number 3 for you guys. Before we go, a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel on patreon.com/Khaldor. Really appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very, very much. If you want to support the channel, if you want to support our efforts to keep the Heroes of the Storm esports scene live with all of the events and tournaments that we're hosting, then please consider to check out patreon.com/Khaldor and support the channel there. It's the best way to support all of the things that we're currently doing for the scene and plan to do in the future. With that being said, enjoy the next game of the series. Game number 3, it's match point. Rum and Ehre, they got the 2-0 lead. Towards the end, Vala and Nazeebo both started to really ramp up their damage, and once level 20 kicked in, it was a massive problem. I mean, it wasn't even close towards that last push. The big part, obviously, being that once that these late mid-game teamfights were won by the blue team, it already started to spiral out of control for Nakivin, because, again, the entire composition for the blue team was scaling towards the late game, and what the red team needed to do is just get farther ahead than they did before that happened, and well done. I mean, Ehre with some really cool players here, so good for them. The big question is now, can the red team start a bit of a comeback here? Or is this going to be the final map of the best of 5 series here in the grand final? By now we have 20 heroes banned out because they've been played before, so they can't be played again. And we'll see what they're relying upon now. Also, what Kazim is obviously going to play. His Nazeebo was not too bad. He got farmed a little bit at the beginning, but very quickly played it safer and still got his stacks together, so well done. Obviously, Nakivin targeted him pretty heavily, and right now, we'll see what they can do. Varian gets banned. Mephisto also taken out. Aldrich Pass, we still have the Haka up, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, you have a couple of globals that you could still play here. And Nuborok obviously was played earlier, so you can't go for the cheeky play around the camps to try and sneak them in, so that's a bit of a problem. But, well, let's see. For right now, we're getting Liming banned. Okay, fair enough. So, no resets where you can just start jumping through a team fight and take him out. But that still leaves the Haka up as a global. Unless somebody is willing to pick up Samuro here. Or anything nasty. I'm still waiting for some of the play or picks making a comeback like Samuro Abyssal. And of course, my boy Asmodan. I would have expected him to be played a lot more on the lower level after he now saw also success on the top level of play. But so far, we haven't seen him appear at all in the tournament. Dehaka, indeed, as the first pick. He was banned out previously, and now with all of the other globals gone, they go for that. Tyrael and Rhaegar can all be very aggressive around this. Tyrael with the Judgment engage. Have you even seen a Sanctification in this tournament? I think we might have once on Infernal Shrines, but predominantly it was Judgment that got chosen by everyone here. Now, With that, we got over on the red team side, Whitemane and Mal'Ganis. Okay. Whitemane, Mal'Ganis, and Dehaka. Nagiveen played Mal'Ganis a few times now, and they set up a lot of their team fights with it. And also the Whitemane plays that we have seen from Lazamehu were always solid. So they're really going into their comfort zone currently with a lot of the picks that we are seeing. Damage is going to be interesting. But I'm also very curious to see what Serena and Kazim are going to play now. The two damage dealers on the side of Rum and Era. And what specifically Nagiveen is, for example, now afraid of, what they're banning out. I mean, they're already getting rid of something like Varian here. They're probably going to ban out the side lane at this point. Trying to eliminate that. Or, well, make the Hakas match up a little bit easier for themselves. But the red team has to dig deep now. Imperius gets banned. Tyrael is already annoying enough as is. You don't want to have Imperius in there as well. Like two of the angels. Ugh. Kill me now. So, let's go. What are we going for? Have you seen Blaze in this matchup? Greymane and Jimmy. Okay, so Greymane and Jimmy. Are we actually going to see stacks for Reyna? There's not really a lot available right now for Jimmy to capitalize on Ace in the Hole yet. They could obviously pick something for Ascari to help Jimmy trigger his level 1 talent. But we've seen a couple of approaches from a few teams where they just said, okay, we're going to go into stacks and just try and ramp that up over the course of the game again. So maybe they do that once more. Sonya and Cassia as the final two picks over on the red team side. So for them, it's already set. This is what they're trying to start their comeback with. If they lose here, then they come in second place in the tournament, and Rum and Ere would take the whole thing. Ascari with Thrall. So Tyrael Thrall, not the beefiest front line. Let's see if it works for them. Aldrich Pass is our third map. It's match point for the blue team. Let's see what they can do here. Let's find out if Nagiveen can start the comeback, or if this is going to be the final map. Game number 3, it's match point, and over on the left in blue, we got Vazimir on Rega, Ascari on Thrall, Sergeant Hader with Tyrael, and Kazim on Greymane. Serena's playing Reyna for the team, and then over on the right side with a couple of comfort picks for the red team, we see Nagiveen with Odorox on Mal'Ganis, we got Slithery Snack on Cassia, Lazamehu with Whitemane, and we got TT on Sonya. And then last but not least, with a bit of a global presence for the red team, we have Simba on Dehaka. So, time to shine. This is really where they have to go all out now. Jimmy is indeed, as expected, going into stacks. A veteran marksman for him, so no ace in the hole. Don't have enough to really capitalize on this. So they're just going to attempt to stack him up. Still a little bit of a look on Cassia here, for example. She could also technically go into stacks, but decides to instead make a play for charged strikes over here. Alright. And all the way up at the top with the Trolling Thunder. We got Ascari on Thrall, so both of them just going for the minion waves here. And Jimmy has actually already gotten a couple of hits together here against Dehaka. It's an interesting lane that we're now seeing at the bottom of the map. Well, laning, Dehaka is a solo, which means that we have at the top side good old Sonya, and they were attempting to gank up on Thrall, shut that down quickly. So triple front line here for Nagiveen. Lots of very target-rich environment currently for Serena, so with 5 stacks, we'll see how quickly they can get Jimmy to a point where he's really starting to work the numbers here. But if the rotation comes towards the bot lane, then they need to call that out early, or this is going to be the death of Jimmy. The big problem for him is still the mobility, him trying to get away. So this is something that everybody just needs to be super careful of. For now, we also have the attack towards the mid lane, as the blue team is really starting to push this and getting aggressive around it. The 1v1 at the top lane still playing out as you would expect, and down at the bottom of the map, yep, that's where we're still having some stacks. It's a really uncomfortable lane for the Haka, honestly. If he gets the lick obvious, on the other hand, this is going to help them a little bit, but generally speaking, as long as Jimmy is just sitting there and working his stacks in, you find yourself in a real awkward spot because you're up against a range damage dealer that can keep you at bay as long as you're not getting any support, so it's a little bit annoying. But anyways, for now, we have still Jimmy rotating between a little bit, went towards the middle to help out, goes back down to the bottom of the map and has some easy free shots against the Haka, who might be in trouble and instantly just pops his essence. Not taking any risks here, gets a lick against Tyrael. So, yeah, not really a big problem for him then at the end of the day, I suppose. But, yeah, there we go. So, all the way up at the top. Still the 1v1 play. Nobody has died yet, so they're playing this a little bit more careful than we've seen in previous games. No big aggression coming from anyone. The one thing, obviously, that's still happening here is the continuous play for camps. I mean, this doesn't really change. Once the camp is up on the lane, you want to make sure that you grab it. Jimmy with 14 stacks on level 1 and 5 on Behemoth armor, which is pretty good. Since they didn't have vision, they weren't quite sure if the opponent is going for camp. You would assume it, of course, but they didn't know that 100%. So Jimmy played this safe, and Mal'Ganis actually rotated down towards the bottom of the map and is now sitting tight there too. Choo-choo! One of the best mounts for sure. Yeah. Still, Greymane also starting to come in and saying hello real quickly. So Greymane with a bit of a presence in this case. They're still trying to get the kill against Sergeant Hater though. Tyrael is a bit low and is able to still get out. Everybody just really brawling as much as they can and trying to get to a good point here. 16 stacks now for Jimmy. Gotta say, he's working it. Unstable Compound on level 7, and we now also get the Ancestral Wrath for Thrall, but the objective is up, and the red team beeline straight towards it, and started to take the timer. So, nice for Jimmy to get additional stacks for 3. That's an easy brawl right there, and Mal'Ganis kind of overstepped his welcome a little bit. Mal'Ganis needs to be very careful, but they also need to try and interrupt this, because they're starting to lose ground on it. For Jimmy, this is amazing. Jimmy gets one hit in after another here, but they need to also make sure that the objective is not that easily taken. They're trying and lose 2 heroes in the process. Naki V, not only do they grab the objective, they're also able to get a double kill against Tyrael and Rhaegar. This is the best case scenario for them here. I mean, this is ideal. So they are getting some real value out of that push. Very aggressive, push straight for the first objective. And as Rum and Ehre seeks to defend, they lose heroes and also the objective itself. Now, it's an early one, so I don't think that we're going to see big damage on the 4. It's not impossible, but usually not what we're getting. Sonya kept at bay. Solo defense currently down here at the bottom of the map. With Serena getting more and more stacks in, but also having to try and take care of the radar itself. In the middle of the map, we're seeing a similar situation, but this one is taken down very easily. Thrall is currently dealing with the Haka at the top, has 5 stacks on his Wolf. 1 more connect, and he's going to get his quest completed. Jimmy still dealing at the bottom of the map with Sonya. And Thrall, no, he missed it! Thrall is reset to 0. Thrall is reset down to 0. God, he was so close. Level 10 is in. Already a 1 level lead for Nakiveen. And that makes things dangerous for now. I have to admit that I am impressed with Jimmy. 18,000 damage. Top damage on the team. And he is at 30 stacks, basically. That's 6 minutes into the game. So, 6 minutes into Game 3, and Jimmy is already at a pretty respectable number of stacks, and is obviously going to boost the hit point pool with that as well. They're about to hit level 10 abilities, but we'll see. A little bit of a body block here. Nice, but not enough to really cause a problem. Okay, Burrow's out. Ooh! Bloodlust! I mean, damn, they are really going ham on this one. So, the front line isn't the most hit point heavy one that we've seen in a while, and now they're also going full aggression with this. They need to win fights quickly, essentially. Sanctification, though. The problem with all of this is that if you move away from the fight, this counters most of the abilities, if you are able to do that. So if they can pull away from it and disengage, then Nakivin is going to be in a great spot. They got Leap, and by the way, on top of that, they also went Adaptation. Adaptation for Dehaka. So really trying with the survivability here. Simba getting attacked, even coming in with Tyrael, but Dehaka is going to get away from this. Yeah, a couple of quick attacks from Jimmy, but that's all that he really could do. And they're chasing Thrall in the meantime topside, and he gets killed, and therefore his level 4 back to 0 again. Boss at the bottom of the map. I don't think Dehaka has actually seen that yet. He will in a moment, but the objective is about to be taken again by Nakivin. So I'm not quite sure if I really like the strategy of Rum and Ehre here. They're likely going to lose another objective. The boss is taken, but maybe they can still rotate towards the top, and the red team is reacting well. I mean, they're going for the 4th here and take this out for more or less free. Not completely, but there's lots of damage, and with the minion wave that is now coming in, they should be able to take the entire thing. So that's a freebie. Even if the boss does damage at the bottom of the map, I don't think they can account for that. So, next objective is low. Hyperion. Once again, the sleeper setup, but the objective is about to be claimed. There comes Sanctification, Bloodlust, and, well, they get good damage in, but Leap connects. They go for Rhaegar, and he gets murdered by Cassia's ult. They're falling apart here. This is not working for them at all. Nakivin is absolutely in the driver's seat on this one. Kazim might be alive. Nope. Gets killed too. And that is now 6 kills to 0. And, well, the fort at the top is already lost. In the middle, they're pushing. Nakivin is on an absolute roll here. So, they are 2 levels ahead. They've now taken, or they're about to take the second fort out. And despite, Jimmy can stack as much as he wants. He can get as much damage in as he wants. If they are not soon putting a stop to this, this is going to be a disastrous game for Rum and Ehre. They were hoping for a 3-0. They were hoping to win it right here, right now. But this is difficult. This is going to be really tough for them. Mid lane wall has been broken. Down at the bottom of the map, the final fort now falls. And, yeah, that's with the help of 2 objectives in a row. And they're pushing this even further. They have a talent advantage, and they're about to hit level 60. Well, 16 is going to be the next one. But if they can get a kill here, for example, this would help them even further. Another leap, and Tyrael is dead. Tyrael goes down, gets a big explosion off against 4, but they're now breaking through that wall. Here comes Hyperion again, this time for defense. Rum and Ehre trying to get at least 1 kill, but they gotta be very careful that the red team doesn't turn this on them. So 2 walls destroyed on those keeps as well. 41 stacks and 32 for Jimmy on his level 1 and level 4. I mean, good damage, I gotta say. 36,000. Not a single death yet. But at the end of the day, not so sure if it's going to matter. We got Cassia already working on the next boss. They're about to hit level 16. Blue team, I do not believe that they're going to fight this, even if they figure it out, because it's a 3-level gap, well, 2-level gap, but a big talent advantage once again, so this boss is about to be taken. They know what's going on, though. They want this fight. They're actually looking at Tyrael gets licked, though, and the boss is still being fought for. Where's the sanctification when you need it? Right there. Cassia is dead. Bloodlust is in. Can they win this one? They're 2 levels down and a talent down, and they're losing too many heroes again. They went for the YOLO move, and they lose everybody. Ascari essentially stops playing. It's a 5-man team wipe. And right now, they just murder that top lane. Dehaka goes to defend the middle. A bit of a YOLO move by Rum and Ehre. Obviously, just the play and say, guys, we gotta risk this. We are talent down. We are several levels behind. If we don't take a risk, we're never gonna come back in this game. Let's just go for the boss. We pop Bloodlust. We pop Sanctification, and that should hopefully win us the battle and the boss, and it just didn't. They're not gonna get the keep, but they can go for the next objective. And they're already at it. So, yeah, that's the play they make. Honestly, it's not a horrible call. It's not a horrible call. You're so far behind, what are you gonna do? Just let your opponent take the boss, take the next objective, and never fight until you have even talents. You can't afford to do that if you're that far behind. You have to pick a spot at some point where you can technically win. And where do you have a better chance than on a specific spot on the map where you can take advantage of Sanctification and of Bloodlust and force the opponent into a fight, drop your Hyperion, and just unleash everything. This is the play right there. If you lose it, you are just farther behind. If you win it, you all of a sudden made a comeback. So they're trying again. Sanctification is out. Leap already used. And it's the same problem. The team fights, they're not winning them. They're getting murdered again. They tried again the aggressive play. They can't lose too many objectives. They know it. They get absolutely wiped. And this is essentially it. So they made a choice. They had to go for a Hail Mary at some point. And, well, here we go. So this is the one thing that you can also do when you're far ahead in a series. You can take some make some risky moves, get a couple of risky plays in. But obviously, it's now really up to the red team to completely destroy all of this. They need to take down all of the keeps that they can, remove the armor shields from the core, and then make a play for game. 17 kills, 2-1. Big sustain also during these fights, coming from Whitemane in particular. So, without the objective even here, we already have one keep out. The second is about to fall, and down at the bottom of the map, they can go easily for the triple. They should go and end the game here. They're about to hit level 20, of course, 17 kills to 1. They are basically unstoppable from here on out. I said from the start in the draft that there's a lot of comfort picks for Nakivin in this game, and that's definitely true. It will give them a point on the board. I don't see a way for the blue team to recover and turn the game around. The question is just simply, is this the start of a comeback or only a single point on the scoreboard that in the bigger scheme of things won't matter too much? They get the kill on Rhaegar, can engage again. Core is already falling pretty significantly, and well, this is it. So, they are able to pull it off. Nakivin, they take our direct pass, and we have a point on the board now for the red team in the attempt to start the comeback here and still win the tournament. GG. Game number 4. 30 heroes are banned out now, and this is gonna make things interesting. So currently, Nakivin with the first point on the board, finally able to win a map. They took it on all direct pass, and now we're headed to Volskaya Foundry. So this is where things start to get interesting. Has the strategy actually paid off where they banned out, or well, went for the meme composition in game number 1 just to get rid of all of those heroes that Kazim likes to play? Or how is this going to work out for them right now? I mean, again, there's a chance that they're going to bring this back, but on the other hand, on the last map, they also had a lot of preference picks that really worked well for them, that they feel pretty comfortable with. They've seen them play them throughout the tournament. What is actually left for them right now? They might find themselves in the same position as some players on the blue team, where all of a sudden their hero pools are starting to become smaller and smaller and smaller. Liming gets banned, and the second follow-up is Stitches. It's kind of funny, by the way, because on Volskaya Foundry, a lot of the heroes that we already had have normally a pretty high priority. Apparently, Kazim plays a lot of Kira here. She's unavailable, and the Zeebo oftentimes gets played here. Another hero that's already out. Could say the same for Vala. She's gone. And with the bans that are coming in, they're starting to whittle down that available hero pool significantly. Now, all in all, we have roughly 90 heroes in the pool. So with 30 banned out and another 6 now getting the axe through the draft, that's a little bit more than a third gone. So this can start to apply some extra pressure. Also opens up opportunities, of course. So now we might see some of the more meme heroes where people are like, hey, well, maybe now I can play certain heroes. Like maybe we're going to see a Murky, Vikings, Asmodan, Ragnaros. Something that usually you wouldn't go for immediately, but in the context of everything else that's missing, start to become a lot more viable. Anduin as a first pick. Kind of forgot that he's still available. And, well, Mephisto got banned. Mephisto and Hanzo were the last bans over here. And, well, let's see what Nakivin is now going to go for. The Finnish team, come on. I kind of expect more crazy picks from them than from Roman Era. Probably because I know too many Finnish people. They're all a little bit nuts. Medivh and Sergeant Hammer. And I can guarantee you every Finn that listens to that is like, yep, that's true. They have this holiday in Finland, by the way, where everybody just goes to like a beach or rivers, and they absolutely get hammered, like massively hammered. And every single year, multiple people drown. And there are actually even announcements on TV where they're telling people, hey, don't get too drunk. And when you're completely drunk, please don't get on a small boat and go onto the river or the lake because you might drown. That seems to be a thing. I haven't actually experienced it myself, but I have enough Finnish friends that I heard that story now multiple times, so I believe it's actually true. So, yeah. They're all a little bit nuts, in a good way. Krobi and ETC for Rum and Era. We got the Hammer Medivh comp on the other side. And that's always nasty. I mean, Sergeant Hammer in and of itself is already mega annoying. Then you have Medivh for extra protection on top of that too. Makes also kind of clear why exactly they banned why they banned Stitches and why they're now getting rid of Urel. Basically anything that can get close enough to Sergeant Hammer and do work is something. So, yeah. Alright, final ban. For match point number 2 on the blue team side. And, well, they get rid of Garrosh. That makes sense. Garrosh can be another obstacle that you have to somehow overcome whenever you're trying to get to Sergeant Hammer. With Medivh, it's obviously going to be also then curious thing whether he completes his baseline or not, so he can have more of an impact when we're talking damage. But with Sergeant Hammer, they should be already pretty fine there. So, Chromie obviously helps a bit against the Sergeant too. Zul and Ultha. If they want to get real nasty, they could go for even more sustain. Nah, this is a little bit overkill. But yeah, they got Ultha, Zul for side lane control, and here comes Gul'dan. Surprising to me that Gul'dan gets picked this late. I mean, keep in mind, we had already Infernal Shrines, and he wasn't chosen there. So now we have a double mage combo for them with Chromie and with Gul'dan, so very heavily reliant on cooldowns. But still, with Horrify and everything else, they have a lot of cool tools now that they could try and use to guard up against Sergeant Hammer, and likely Echoed Corruption. And that gives us Imperius as the final pick for the blue team, as they're hoping to end the series with a 3-1 score. Well, final pick. Laza Mehu is usually the support player, so there's a good chance that they're taking another support now. That Uther doubles as a main tank, which we've seen obviously in the past a lot. Lots of sustain then. I mean, that would be a bit nasty. And it is Uther, Lucio, and Medivh to protect the hammer. Okay, let's see if that works out for them. Volskaya Foundry, everybody. Game number 4, Nakivin against Rum and Era. The 2-1 score in favor of the blue team as we're heading for Volskaya Foundry. As expected, Kazim with Gul'dan goes straight for Echoed Corruption, something he's going to use as best as possible against Sergeant Hammer. We got Sergeant Hader on ETC, Serena with Chromie, Vasimir on Anduin, and Ascari is playing Imperius. On the right side of the map, Nakivin, after their recent success on all direct pass, now eager to lock in a second point. We got TT on Lucio, Lazamehu on Uther, and Odorox on Medivh. So going for a triple support, essentially, with a Slithery Snack on Sergeant Hammer and Simba on Zul. So Zul is going to be the one just rotating between the lanes, trying to get the experience for the team. And, well, up at the top, already some damage done. But with all of that range damage that we have, Sergeant Hammer is still going to have a bit of a tough one. Already, Gul'dan taking advantage of the situation by getting the first few stacks. We have Imperius now dealing with Zul at the bottom of the map. Level 1 talent for Chromie goes into Deep Breathing. And Medivh with some initial decent stacks here, hitting 6 right off the bat. So off to a good start on this. Still, the portal rotation is now happening towards the mid lane. And I'm very intrigued to see if Nakiwin can protect the hammer throughout all of it. So right now we have Gul'dan at 50% of its HP, gotta be careful too. Still ETC and Imperius, both with a couple of stuns, but the one thing that you don't want to be is in range of Sergeant Hammer. That's where Anduin comes into play and can pull you back to safety. But this is going to be the play throughout the game. All that the red team has to do is keep them away from Sergeant Hammer, or that the blue team is going to try and do is get close enough to get the kill. They got nice range in Gul'dan with Echoed Corruption and, of course, Chromie. And if they at any point can engage with the melees, then hey, even better. The one thing that I'm a bit curious about is whether or not we are going to get ETC with Stage Dive, because that could make perfect sense here. Nice aggression, look at that! So Nakiwin comes in and takes the second item, so they steal the second turret away here. Good on them. Made possible by Medivh. Quick portal rotation once more. But yeah, as I said, we could get Stage Dive just to try and jump onto Sergeant Hammer after level 10. Slithery Snake, still a target for Gul'dan. And Gul'dan is going to try and just hit this over and over again. Whenever Sergeant Hammer is set up, try and work on your level 1 stacks a little bit. Oh ho ho ho! Try and work on the Medivh stacks a bit too! Yeah? Close call there for Underdog. Set the cooldowns ready, good for him. Or this could have been a problem. This could have been a big problem. But yeah, he had the shield and the portal. And ETC couldn't push him back further. With level 4, we're now getting the Raven Familiar here. As the first control point unlocks, and that's of course the next question mark. How much are the teams going to push for the objective itself? 12 stacks already for Gul'dan, so Kazim is at least getting nice value out of this. And is gonna hit another one basically, but only against Uther. Another portal and back to safety. God, it must be so frustrating playing against this. Lucio, Uther and Medivh. I mean, you just look at that comp and, he didn't go for siege tactics. Regenerative Biosteel instead for the extra heal. Not so sure if that was really needed with all of the support that you have behind you right there. So, yeah. But they're going for it. So they're taking control. Nakiwin wants to go for the first protector here. Sergeant Hammer, there's the slide and the shield. Uther might still be in trouble though. Sergeant Hammer is also firing away, but Uther's the first one to fall, and that is first blood in the game. Even Sergeant Hammer was in trouble for a bit here. Chromie is continuing with her stacks, and so is Gul'dan, so the blue team is taking control of the situation. And is starting to get the progress for themselves. Could still fire a bit away here, and yeah, this is the problem with Sergeant Hammer, that you have essentially a target that you're presenting to Gul'dan, where he can get his stacks in. And the same is true for Chromie too. So Sergeant Hammer will just be bombarded throughout the entire game. And a lot of this will really hinge on the performance of Medivh as things continue. So Sergeant Hammer with another slide. And they get the quest completed for Chromie. But we also have Sergeant Hader on ETC starting to be a bit low. Turret. Take that down quickly. They have won themselves and utilized it already. But there's the overdrive right there. So they want that protector and they might be able to grab it. Big damage again against Sergeant Hammer. The shield is already out, but the blue team is getting slowly pushed off the checkpoint. Slowly but steadily. And they're running out of hit points here, especially ETC. No idea what he was doing. ETC just asking to be killed here. He could have moved. Did I miss something? He could have moved towards the gate in the middle. But was just going left, right, left, and giving Sergeant Hammer multiple opportunities to weave in another auto attack. And that is the first kill for the red team. And also protector number 1. So, yeah. Turned out well for Nakiwin after all. They're trying to get some value with this. Chromie, good damage here. But keep in mind, they don't have a sustained damage dealer that can work in auto attack. So it's all hinging on cooldowns for them. As they're now moving towards the top and try to take this one out. We have 2 supports in and the push has been split. At the bottom of the map, the rest of the team is trying to break to the next wall. And for Nakiwin, it's currently working. Bit of a lead in experience here. Gul'dan with additional hits now too. Sergeant Hammer does not have any heals, so relies completely on Medivh play. And in the middle. Protectors could actually get really dangerous for the blue team. Oftentimes when we're talking about Volskaya Foundry, you have a situation in front of you where the Protector doesn't really have that much of an impact. Here though, you have a lineup for the blue team that isn't really all that great at dealing with him. So this could become a problem. Level 10 abilities are ready. Blue team was actually thinking about forcing a fight here and then realized that going up against heroics might not really be the best idea they had today, especially with Medivh already being around. So first they got to get their own heroics. 25 stacks now for Gul'dan. And there's level 10. There's the slide, and they want the mosh. They want to mosh it up. Oh, that nearly was a kill, and it nearly was again, but they even got the Divine Shield out. It technically wasn't needed, but they went for the better safe than sorry play to keep Sergeant Hammer alive. Instead, Zul gets attacked, but he still gets through the portal. What a frustrating comp to go up against. They need a good Horrify, they really do. Good Horrify would help. Chromie with the Sandstorm could possibly also make a big difference in fights. But the layers of sustain are insane. 16,000 damage for Sergeant Hammer. And on the other side, we got 17,000 for Chromie, 16,000 for Gul'dan. And they're coming in here once again. And it's all about the slow damage against Sergeant Hammer. And some pressure against Lucia, as it turns out, who drops super low. Zul is the one that just provides all of the wave clear for the team. And Imperius is matching this as best as he can. So yeah, Ascari obviously with Imperius also in the spot where he can dish out tons of damage. I mean, Imperius for the longest time was the most proper main tank. And one of the big advantages was the damage output that he just randomly has. But these days, just really finding himself more and more in the side lane position again. Leyline could technically be used here. They can go for... Ooh, yeah, Imperius missing the ult certainly didn't help their cause. But they can still go for the beacon, and it gets pressured the entire time. Oh, the mosh pit! And even a Divine Shield now being used. Medivh is low, went back through the portal, gets the Leyline out, the healing beacon has been taken. And still nobody dying here. 12 to 12 on the levels. Oh, Simba, low too. Boy, oh boy. And it's Imperius that dies to Sergeant Hammer. Zul made it out of the fight. And they're portaling up and are about to lose. This is insane. Lucio and everybody else was mega low, but they get a kill on ETC. And the red team just walks away without a loss. This is just nasty. God, kill me now. What a horrible comp to go up against. Maybe Gul'dan on 16, especially now that he also has his Echoed Corruption, can make more of a difference. But this is just nasty. So Gul'dan gets a few more hits in, but it is the red team that is going for the objective already. They have a level 13 talent advantage too. Not a big leading experience, but again, it's there. So yeah, slowing sands are already in. Starting to push this back once more, and it's just shot after shot after shot. By now we have Sergeant Hammer with the hyper cooling engines. The mobility after level 7 obviously helping a ton. Chromie, maybe a bit too isolated. Sergeant Hammer, they want to again. Divine. This is the one problem with quite. Oh, Zul gets ulted, and can they get a kill? No. Leyline has already been used. And the Protector is ready, so they can start taking the Protector down. They're currently protecting the spot. But, yeah. ETC rushing away. Another connect from Imperius. But we already have the Protector claimed. And now Chromie might actually die to it. Okay. Safe, but barely. And still sticking around here. With Anvin attempting to heal everybody. They're burning this one down a lot faster. And there's the mosh pit attempt. And it gets shut down. But they finally get a kill. Okay. Finally they take Sergeant Hammer out. Kill number 2 for the team. And while Lucio is still rushing away with the Protector, they're chasing that thing as hard as they can. And eventually, yeah, they will just escape here. The one thing that I wanted to highlight after the fight at the top, though, as Medivh is, by the way, about to complete his quest, was that we had now a few opportunities, or a few moments already, where the red team struggled to coordinate their abilities. You see that shield coming in from Medivh at the same time. We have a divine shield from Uther. So this is not really perfectly synced. And this is one of the areas where Rum and Ere can maybe take advantage of. That they're just applying pressure, and just wait for the moment when Nakivin makes a mistake like this, and then attempt to capitalize on it. Easier said than done, obviously. And so far, all of these fights have been insanely close, but maybe they have a shot at playing this one out. Quest is completed for Medivh, so now he can chip in a bit more too. 2 objectives have already gone to Nakivin. And now, at least in experience, we're even again, as teams are making plays for the remaining items on the map. 36,000 damage for Gul'dan. Chromie trailing a bit with 31k, but Sergeant Hammer is obviously the top damage dealer in the game with nearly 40,000. Horrify would really help. I mean, they're gonna try again over and over to get to a decent position here. Portals are there immediately. It's gonna be a tough one. To be fair, if you're getting to the late game, one bad team fight can ruin things for Nakivin for sure. But yeah, it's a nasty call. Lucio, though, gets caught and killed before the red team has a chance to properly safeguard in here. And with Autorox just providing vision, Sergeant Hammer might be in some trouble. Light bomb engage, shut down, but they still have Uther. Uther is completely isolated here. He has a divine shield and gets the portal before he even has to use it. Yeah, another slide. They try to isolate Zul, and the ley line gets thrown out. Cooldown after cooldown. And now ETC becomes the target and has to get away. Imperius is still sitting in the middle. Both teams now with level 16 talents. That gives us also the Ruinous Affliction. But boy, oh boy, would I be annoyed if I'm on the blue team right now. I mean, at some point, you just gotta think, guys, can we just surrender this one and go straight to game number 5? Just so that we don't have to play it, even if we have a good chance of winning it. Sergeant Hammer, they need to get these late game kills. I mean, it's going to get to a late game one way or another. But they need to get these late game kills in order to have big death timers that they can play around. And now with 16, we even got Benediction for potential double heals. We have Executioner now for Sergeant Hammer over here. Next control point is unlocking, and they're claiming a camp to try and push. But a lot of the fighting will likely focus onto the bot lane now in an attempt to get a protector here. Gul'dan is getting solid damage in all of this. But, yeah, they get that connect with Anduin just a little bit too late. If they hit that earlier, then they might have a shot. There's not a single fort that has been destroyed yet, but the red team is getting close at the top lane. And ETC is looking time and time again for a chance to engage. Same true also for Imperius, of course. With the level 1 that he took. So, the 5-man is slowly moving down to the bottom of the map. Zul is already there. They could technically split just one hero of the blue team to go down, I suppose. These Medivh shields. God, if they had a silence or something. And they can steal maybe a few of the camps away, but Zul is already trying to go for some progress. And has a minion wave that he pushed in too. Next issue is obviously that Medivh has full vision on wherever the main bulk of the blue team is. So he keeps that vision up here. They're trying to go for the next camp. And I don't know. Roman Era really has to decide how are we going to play this. Currently, it's a very, very slow game. Lots of damage, lots of small skirmishes and fights, very few kills though. And it's just a very, very slow progress in all. Now, this is all going to accelerate, of course, at some point. I mean, those objectives, they are scaling. Catapults, ones that we're talking about, them are scaling. And the red team is now going to take the first fort of the game out. So they're going to get this one at the top. This one is a freebie. ETC just sitting at the side, hoping that he can get a connect on someone. Imperius is still defending at the top a little bit, so they're not exposing the lane completely. He's just waiting for that slide. But the Divine Shield is there. Yeah, there's a trap. Nice! Some good damage against Lucio. Gotta play this one out. There's the immediate move or the attempt by ETC, and he gets shut down 6 days to Sunday. First by Horrify! And they still can't do it. Oh my god! They get the Protector though. They get the Protector. Protector is finally in play. Can they do anything with it though? They got the turrets on the ground. They have the Protector to potentially take a few of the structures out. Sergeant Hammer needs the shield again as they are working down those towers. If they can keep Sergeant Hammer running by simply making plays for him with the 2 mages, then the Protector is going to have enough time to go for some of the critical damage here. And they are actually going to take this fort out. So the fort is out. Mosh Pit gets insta-interrupted. Another ley line utilized. And they are pushing this a bit further. So, I mean, good for Rumenere. It's a fort on each side that has now fallen. Oh, they're getting Sergeant Hammer. Alright, Gul'dan with the kill through the Protector. They open the wall up here. And that was a big one for them. That was a big one, honestly. And keep in mind, this is essentially the only real damage source that is now gone on the red team. They should try and go for the keep no matter what. At this point, just get Gul'dan, get Chromie to fire. This is basically the one big damage source. There's Slide, and they want to follow up on this. They can't get the stun with ETC and the Light Bomb, but they are taking down Zul. And this is the double kill. This is level 20. Now they got Haunt, and they keep at the bottom of the map falls. They also have Piercing Sands, though this was huge. That one kill on Sergeant Hammer was all that they needed to gain a massive amount of momentum, and it worked beautifully for them. So here's the opportunity right now. It's kind of funny, by the way, with Sergeant Hader again sitting there and was just like, left, right, who I'm going to stun with a light bomb? And I was like, oh, I'm going for the middle. And he hit nobody. They still got the kill though, so it was all good at the end of the day. But now they can, of course, also start to poke away against more of the other structures here. They can go for some of the extra items that they can steal away. Problem is that Medivh now has also his cheat on 20, so that allows them for some easy moves through him with more ley line action. We got the Ultra Capacitors in. Lucio went for the Summer Anthem at this point. And apparently they still think they can take this fight here. Chromie though with nice burst, and here comes the slide and the mosh pit. They go for Lucio. The Horrify already used, and Lucio is dead. Nice play by ETC with the Bolt of the Storm, getting the mosh pit on both of them, and obviously Medivh had to split his attention a bit, and that then resulted in Lucio falling, making this another 5 versus 4, where they can poke down the wall and honestly go for the fort in the middle. So, yep. Fort in the mid lane should now be eliminated. With you having the upper hand here and utilizing, obviously, Gul'dan heavily, this is a perfect opportunity to take another structure out. And just saying, but the bot lane, there are catapults on the core now. We're 19 minutes into the game, so they gotta deal with this and send Zul back, which means that up at the top, we have another chance to get some initial damage on this fort too. So the red team is all of a sudden playing catch-up. They are running from left to right, from right to left, and doing the best that they can in order to make sure that they're not losing more ground, but it also means that their fort at the top is taking more damage. They still got to be careful. I mean, Chromie got really dropped quickly now by Sergeant Hammer. So Ultra Capacitors are now in. 70,000 damage for Sergeant Hammer, 80,000 damage for Gul'dan, and 75,000 for Chromie. Next objective is up. Here comes another slide after the Bolt of the Storm. Yeah, but this one missed. But ETC, he's trying. He's really trying to leverage that level 20 talent to allow them to get close enough to have more of an impact and make it difficult for the opponent to disengage the way that they've done throughout all of this. The bot lane is a real problem, by the way, for Nakibin. It's a huge problem. This could be the last game. If the red team loses here, then Rum and Ere crowns themselves the champions of the Underdog Cup. And they will have to maintain somebody at the bot lane to try and control this. More pressure at the top lane as well. But not for long. There's catapults coming in. Big damage from Gul'dan. Oh my god. I mean, they got 2 supports and then Medivh on top of that. But still, Gul'dan, if he hits you full on with the entire combo here, it's just brutal. And he continues doing it. Hit after hit after hit. Massive amount of damage, but a lot of it healed out very, very quickly. In comes the ley line. Chromie saved. Chromie saved. And there's the mosh pit on Medivh. They got the mosh on Medivh. And this should be a kill. Medivh is gone. And this was one of the biggest tools of Nakivin to keep everybody safe. They're coming in again. Sergeant Hammer in some trouble. Gets hit hard by Gul'dan and destroyed. And here's the chance to go for game. Here's the opportunity. They shouldn't chase Lucio too long. They have everything they need for the bot lane move. Lucio gets killed too. And this is the chance, the one opportunity to crown yourselves the champion. Another 34 seconds until Medivh is back to business. Only Uther and Zul as the survivors over here. The big damage from Gul'dan in particular. They go for the core and this is it. Ruhm and Ehre, they take the victory in the tournament, in the grand final. Crown themselves the champions of the Underdog Cup as Nakivin takes second place and is defeated on Volskaya Foundry. Nicely done and congratulations to the blue team. GG and well played.